This is the story of a man who is accused of being one of the biggest kingpins Belgium has ever known. He is richer than Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard combined, the mayor of Antwerp has said. Tens of thousands of kilos of coke were allegedly distributed by him into Europe. Thus far, he has never been prosecuted for any of these crimes. But there is one thing. If he was truly innocent, why did a prominent member of the vicious Sinaloa Cartel make a video demanding him to settle his debt or else? This is the story of Othman El B. Othman El B was born in 1986 and grew up in Borgerhout, Antwerp. As a young teen, Othman already made his way to the port of Antwerp. Late at night, he would embark on a mission to get the coke shipments out of the containers for his clients. Driven to never be caught, he became a master at it, and money was pouring in for him. Most of his sidekicks would go on to splurge money on fast cars, expensive designer clothing, and put themselves in the spotlight. Othman was different. Usually the guys who get the coke out of the port are seen as disposable foot soldiers at the bottom of the ladder. Dumb young guys who essentially take the most risk in the distribution chain and earn the least. Most of the time, they would get a couple of €1,000 for their efforts, which compared to the revenue they had just brought home for their boss, was only a fraction. Othman was smarter though. Instead of being paid cash, he decided he wanted to be paid in product, which is a very smart decision if you think about it. He would get his payment in coke for the same price the importer had bought it for in South America, typically somewhere between €2,000 and €4,000 per kilo. But we all know that once the coke arrives safely in the port of Antwerp, the price immediately skyrockets to somewhere around €25,000 per kilo. Thus, selling the coke himself would make him way more money. Overall, this was a brilliant business decision. Othman went on to build his own network, and instead of getting the coke out in the midst of the night himself, he recruited his own men to do it for him. Those weren't smart enough to ask to be paid in coke, so Othman's margins remained massive, and it propelled his career as a smuggler. In a relative short time, he had gotten extremely rich and entered the upper echelon of the smuggling business. At the end of 2015, beginning 2016, Othman made the wise decision to move to Dubai after he began to surface on the radar of the Belgian police. He was able to run his operations remotely and invest in real estate. Being in Dubai also allowed him to splurge his money in peace. The higher you climb up the ladder in the underworld, the more tense the environments can get. On the 15th of November 2016, around 22:15 in the evening, Othman's younger brother Yunus was in for an unpleasant surprise. Yunus had just finished working out at the Basic Fit gym and was making his way outside. The plan for the night was to eat at his sister's house, and as he exited the gym, he called her to let her know he was on his way. Well, these plans changed abruptly. As his sister answered the phone call, she could hear Yunus screaming for help and him being in a chaotic situation. She heard how her brother was pushed inside something, and then the connection broke. She immediately alerted the police, and an investigation was launched the same night. Upon watching the CCTV footage of the area, they saw how Yunus was pushed into a van by 4 men, as well as how hours later, his car was moved from the parking lot. The car would be found 5 days later somewhere in Antwerp. That was the same day Othman reached out to the police of Antwerp. Othman informed them that he had been in contact with the kidnappers of his younger brother. He said that they demanded ransom, millions in ransom. Othman also named the mastermind behind this kidnapping. According to him, it was none other than Hussein Ait S. I think for many of you a bell starts to ring. Hussein Ait S was the rival of Gwinnett Martha in the Mokro feud in Amsterdam over a lost shipment. Othman went on to give very specific and detailed information about Hussein and his associates. He even knew the serial number of the BlackBerry Hussein used. Meanwhile, Yunus was being held in a hideout somewhere in Brussels. Weeks went by. Yunus was then moved to Paris. During this whole ordeal, Othman remained in Dubai, as he kept feeding the police of Antwerp with valuable information. It is more than likely that he knew exactly what the reason behind this action was, although he always denied that. Word on the street was that it was because of a missing shipment. In an exclusive interview with the Belgian newspaper GVA, he said some interesting things. When being asked about his involvement in a conflict in the underworld, he said, "I don't have a conflict with anybody. The kidnappers were only after money. They just chose someone who they think would have a lot of money. First, I do not even have that much money to pay millions in ransom. And second of all, even if I could, I would never pay it, not even €1. The police of Antwerp repeatedly told Othman to pay, nearly pressuring him to make a move. They even asked him, "Just pay. Are you really going to abandon your little brother?" Nevertheless, Othman was not budging. Or was he? After 37 long days, Yunus managed to escape. For days on end, he used a spoon to forge the lock on his handcuffs. Then, he managed to escape through a window with bedsheets tied together. At least, that was the story that was brought out. Does it sound believable to you? Or did Othman just pay the ransom? Let me know in the comments what you think. Word on the street was that Othman paid several millions and/or kilos of coke. In the GVA interview, Othman debunked this. Stories have surfaced which say I paid the ransom in money, gold, or even coke. Those stories are nonsense. My brother escaped on his own from that apartment in Paris. After all Othman's tips, police managed to arrest the 4 kidnappers of his brother: Hassan S, Mohammed K, Abu S, and Rashid B. 4 Parisian gangsters with serious criminal records. Their arrest led to the discovery of another kidnapping case. Several months prior to Yunus's kidnapping, they also kidnapped Abdelkader Bouker. Just like with Yunus, they demanded millions of euros in ransom too. Ultimately, 1.6 million had been paid, but to no avail. Abdelkader Bouker has never been seen again. More on him in a separate video. Around June 2018, a database filled with property and residency data in Dubai leaked. The Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project extensively reported on this leak. As you may know, real estate in Dubai is a booming business, and there is a lot of money involved. The database contained 54,000 addresses with 129,000 owners from 181 countries. Although many of those people have not been accused of any wrongdoing, the database also contained information about organized crime figures, sanctioned individuals, and other shady characters. Othman was deemed to be one of those organized crime figures. After his move to Dubai, he purchased and sold millions worth of real estate. His name is connected to at least 11 properties with a combined value of $8.5 million. Multiple large townhouses in Reem, 4 more properties in the Discovery Gardens, and $1.4 million worth of property in the Address Residence Skyview, which is one of Dubai's most luxurious and prestigious buildings. As a response to this leaked database, Othman said, "It's all incorrect. I'm not involved in any sort of narcotic smuggling. I buy and sell luxury watches, invest in real estate, and trade on the stock market." Years went by, and accusation after accusation was made against Othman since the first time he was linked to the drug trade in 2015. But solely looking at the facts, they were still not able to prosecute him for anything yet. He always kept a low profile and went about his business, making it hard for prosecutors to get concrete evidence that would stand in court. Well, April 2022 would be the first time police found potentially incriminating evidence against Othman. During 40 raids in Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany, 16 people were arrested. The raids took place after police investigated multiple seized shipments in 2021 of a total of 35,000 kilos that were linked to Othman. Othman was allegedly the mastermind behind these shipments for several customers. On the 2nd of April 2021, a shipment of nearly 11,000 kilos was seized in the port of Antwerp. The coke was hidden in a shipment of leather. Totally unaware, the criminals communicated via their Sky ECC phones, all while the police were reading their messages. So despite their professional efforts to try to import the coke, they stood no chance. Upon further investigation, this shipment could then be linked to the 2 other very big seized shipments. One shipment was seized on the 12th of February 2021 in the port of Hamburg. This shipment was nearly 16,000 kilos. The other shipment was seized on the 20th of February 2021 in the port of Antwerp and totaled to nearly 8,000 kilos. 3 insanely large shipments, all with one alleged mastermind behind it, Othman El B. As always, he publicly denied any involvement. In addition, Othman would have other things to worry about. There were different feuds going on in Antwerp, and it was getting heated. Criminal organizations were attacking each other, one after the other. A common target was the homes of those involved, and this was bound to go wrong soon enough. On the 9th of January 2023, at around 6:30 in the evening, 3 shots were fired at the garage door of a home that belonged to family members of Othman. Behind that garage door, an improvised living room with a kitchen. Several residents were in that kitchen at 6:30 in the evening, including a few children. Unfortunately, one of those 3 fired shots struck a young girl. She passed in the hospital. It was later revealed to be Othman's niece. After it became clear that it was Othman's niece, police immediately made the conclusion that this attack was part of the ongoing feuds in the underworld of Antwerp. Othman immediately denied all allegations that he was the intended target of the attack. "With my hand on my heart, I don't have anything to do with what happened to my niece," he said. "I will keep on searching till I find the coward who did this. This was a mistake. It was definitely not aimed at me." When asked how he could be so sure about that while coming from a notorious crime family, he replied, We as a family are not notorious. Can you name one attack in Antwerp, of which there were many the last few years, that my family was involved in? I will give you the answer, none. I am not violent and don't have any conflicts. I have not lived in Belgium for 12 years. The police wants to cook up a soup with me as the main ingredient. The truth will come out, I will make sure. Then the news broke on March 10th, 2023 that Belgian prosecutors demanded a 9-year sentence against Othman for the import of large quantities of coke and money laundering. Furthermore, prosecutors demanded 8 years for his brother Nordin and Younes. Othman and his brothers were deemed to be players of the upper echelon of the underworld of Europe. Prosecutors are convinced that they have a very strong case thanks to all the Sky ECC messages and the intercepted shipments they allege to be orchestrated by Othman. They say Othman went by the name of Big Brother. Some messages, Big Brother, sent to his brother Nordin went as follows: "Can I send money? That 100 you did was successful." To which Nordin replied a smiley face. "You had 1.3 mil min. 200 is 1.1. Now 90 times 29 is 3.7 million. Can I send that tomorrow? Sorry, 650k I forgot as investment. 3,150,000. Nordin replied, "Okay, I have 3 million, all hundreds." Othman said, "Bro, might want 1 mil over there, so I don't have to knock on your door every time." Nordin replied, to which Othman said, "Do you also have a spot where I can stash another 10 million just for me?" The calculation Othman made in the message is alleged to be regarding a coke shipment of 100 kilos. 6,500 euros per kilo purchase price is the investment of 650k he talks about. With the 90 times being 29, he is allegedly referring to 90 kilos being sold for 29,000 euros per kilo wholesale once arrived in Europe. Many more messages about large quantities of money shipments being planned, among many other things, will be used in court to finally get Othman behind bars. Othman's response to this news: "They will never prosecute me in this case. There is just no evidence." But that may not even be the worst news Othman would get. Just 4 months later, the United States of America started to get involved. On the 19th of July 2023, the US Department of Treasury put Othman, as well as his brothers and associate Ben Azza, on their OFAC sanction list. Being on the Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctions list means that every property you own, every bank account you own, every business you own, every car that is in your name that has connections to the US may be blocked or seized. All in all, very serious consequences. Othman wasn't too worried though. "Do you think I own anything?" read his short and simple answer based on the news. I have to give it to him, he is a brave man. Based on what we know about him now and how he has always moved, it would not surprise me if he already pulled off some well thought out trick to get all assets off his name into someone else's, so it could not be seized. But only time will tell. Yet, as if things could not get any more serious, on the 20th of July, something happened that would somewhat justify the allegations against Othman. A video surfaced made by someone that is allegedly to be a member of a prominent Mexican cartel. He says that he is speaking on behalf of Ismael El Mayo Zambada, also known as the leader of the Sinaloa Cartel. Let's watch the video directed to Othman.
Buenas tardes, señor Baluti. El motivo de este mensaje es para pedirle de antemano una disculpa por haber enviado a mi gente de mi organización a las puertas de la casa de una persona con el afán de cobrar una deuda que tiene pendiente con nosotros, señor. Me disculpo de antemano en el nombre del señor Gómez para que entienda esto, pero sí le digo una cosa, señor. Mande este video para Culiacán, Sinaloa, oiga. Enséñenlo a quien usted quiera, oiga. Ahí en Europa hay mucha gente, oiga. ¿Me entiende? De Sinaloa. Y dígale a esa gente: esta persona me está cobrando, ¿sí? Y esas personas le van a decir quién soy yo. Así como tengo los huevos para venir y hacer este video con mi cara, señor Baluti. Así mismo estoy de parado con mi gente, con la gente del Mayo Zambada, señor. De quien quiera, oiga. ¿Me entiende? Entonces, chequenme bien el dato, oiga. Y le pido una disculpa de antemano en nombre de mi organización. Pero las deudas son deudas de honor, deudas de hombre, oiga. Este negocio es de hombre, no de maricas. Entonces le encargo de favor, oiga, que se pongan las pilas con esa deuda, señor. Y de antemano le vuelvo a pedir una disculpa. Pero pues también ustedes pónganse serios, oiga. Andamos pues, oiga, cuídense mucho, familia Baluti.
So in short, he said that he sent people to Othman's people to take care of an outstanding debt, which apparently Othman refuses to settle. He dared Othman to show other people the video, so they could tell him who he is and who he is dealing with. Him making the video with his own face visible, sending a direct message to Othman, is something I have never seen before. He seemed pretty serious, so the debt is probably not just a few thousand euros, obviously. For now, we can only speculate what the case may be. An unpaid shipment, an unpaid loan, how much was it, and so on. Whatever it might be, it is safe to say that Othman has some outstanding business with some very dangerous people. For now, Othman remains safely in Dubai. Despite there are new extradition treaties between Belgium and Dubai, the city does not seem to be willing to arrest and extradite Othman anytime soon. He will remain living in luxury and thus far has never been prosecuted for any serious crimes, and therefore remains innocent until proven guilty. All in all, an intriguing story, don't you think? I'll keep you updated if there are any new things happening regarding this case. As always, thanks for watching till the end, and please consider leaving a like, a comment, and subscribe if you have not already. See you in the next one.